Hey, how's it going, guys? DJ Av here. Smash that like button because we have a review, and today we're going to be talking about this thing that's in front of us, which is Skillz DropX, which is a sampler VST. So what is a sampler VST? A sampler VST is much like this thing that's in FL Studio, but many other VST or DAWs out there don't have a real good sampler. Sometimes it is pretty bare bones. Sometimes it might not function the way you want it to. This has all the advantages that you will want for a sampler VST. Let's play the track. So as you can see, the sound quality of it is pretty darn good as far as the factory content goes, and stuff that you can load into it in terms of the sampler, wave, AIFF, those are pretty much the standard there. Goes all the way up to 24-bit. I haven't tried like a 96-bit or whatever file or whatever, because I don't see the point of doing that. I think in general, you should stay in the 24, 16-bit realm just for size and sound quality reasons. But speaking of which, you can change the bit depth of the waveforms that you're messing with. In general, when you load it in here, you have the ability to load up to 3 waveforms, and you can mute it. So once you load whatever waveform that you want in there, you can do that as well as control the pitch, the level, and the pan. And then you have if you don't know where a sample is, you can show in folder. It'll pull up where the sample is located, which I find that to be very dandy when you find a sample or whatnot that you load in here and you mangle it up and you forget where it's located on your hard drive. So that's a pretty cool feature, simple feature, but cool feature. One thing I want to point out is it does have a built-in delay and whatnot, which you can adjust the time accordingly, and the feedback in the mix. You can double left click on it and it will reset it back to 0. So, I always like my VSTs to be able to have that feature, even though a simple is a needed feature. ADSR. The ADSR is pretty decent. One of the things I do want to point out about this VST, seeing again that it is sample based, as you bring your attention up here to the CPU usage, it's pretty low. As you can see, I used a whole bunch of different instances of it. And as I play the whole entire track, you see it doesn't jump all the way up to like 70, 80 or whatever. And that comes in handy. One of the cooler things about it is the filter section. Which is basically a low pass, band pass, and high pass. Decent filter in general. You can kind of hear a little bit of the digitalness when you up the resonance, but the resonance kind of sounds like an analog resonance. So yeah. Distortion, pretty cool feature. I thought earlier that it was more or less asymmetrical, but it does sound more or less like a desk or a saturation type distortion, in which, you know, it just brings out different kinds of harmonics in the highs and the mids, more or less, kind of changing the shape of the waveform itself. And you can hint it towards like parallel distortion, which is a little different from usual. Reverb is okay. It's not bad. It's not great either. But you can get your good use out of it. Again, you know, if depending on the sample that you're using, you can just add release, and you know, that'll act more or less like a tail to give you that reverb, but it, you know, it won't give it that presence like a reverb. But you know, this one way if you just don't want to drench the sample. But again, it's not very CPU extensive, so you won't have to worry about that. Another feature I didn't talk about right here in the window is reverse. Let's go and pull up this. You can hear it better in this one. And also you can edit the sample and tighten it up, so you know, if you was wanting the sample to be a little bit tighter, you can do that. I did, however, test like the pulling up a sample. How would that work? I believe it might be in this one, and it is. I used a drum from Midnight Star's Freakazoid, which is more or less of electro kind of drum. So again, you know, this is where things start to get a little crazy. One of their main features here is being able to audition. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'm going to drop it down 2 octaves. So you see right here, you see F0, E0, you know, that's like the octave that is in. What you can do is you can either apply triplets or change the rate of the triggering from there live. Me personally, I don't have a necessary use for that as much as I do this right here. And I'm gonna go back. The snare right here in general sounds like this in 24-bit. Let me get some volume for you so it can slap your ears. That's how it sounds in 24-bit, but if I dropped it to 8-bit def, it gives it more of a dirty feel. That might be a little bit too much for you, but put it in 12-bit. You know, so you put it in 12-bit, it gives you more or less of a feel of like a SP12 by Emule, well, a famous drum machine that every old school producer loves. So it gives you that type of feel, and that's one thing that the default sampler within FL Studio cannot do, or at least to my knowledge. Let's make sure of that. Okay, so it looks like we're clear. Yeah, so that's one of the legs up about having this, which can come in handy if you like make your snares and stuff from scratch, or you want to make a certain kind of drum kit or whatever. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and last but not least test out the drag and drop, because the drag and drop is pretty cool. And what I mean by drag and drop, drag a sample in there, drop it in there. Let's hear how that sounds at 8-bit. $16, $24. So as you can see, again, this is a dope company for what it's worth. I really do like them. I like the GUI itself. The factory library is pretty good as well. As I close this out, one thing though you got to keep in mind also, if something doesn't sound like it's set to a specific key, you got to adjust the pitch. See, that's not CEG. Oops. There we go. So you do have to adjust certain samples and stuff like that, but that is basically, their ideas and when they was setting this thing up. You got chords as well. It's pretty good. Load up a snare. That's a pretty dope electro snare. So as you can see there, you can affect stuff in different ways. I did like the basses in there. Especially that one. That one definitely. That's the one I used in the track itself. Synths. Go back to synths a little bit. But it's very complimentary to basically what you have. It again, the link is in the description box. I really do like this. I think it's worth checking out a little bit more. Also, while I'm at it, because how I started with them or found out about them was through this VST right here. And I did a review on this a while ago. And, they did a good job of fixing this within FL Studio. I didn't find anything too bad about DropX in general, but this one right here, that thing, I definitely recommend this. They usually do sales and stuff like that on their website, so you might want to check in and out, even write them a note or two, see what's going on. But I do believe they have a producer bundle in general that's on their site. So I'm DJ McCree. Thank you so much for your time, and I am out of here. Y'all have a good day. Stamp.
Traptendo.